Something just shifted in the spiritual realm, and it happened because of you. There are moments in life when heaven seems silent, when prayers feel like they disappear into the clouds, and when the weight of waiting becomes almost unbearable. You may have wondered if your faith was unnoticed, if your sacrifices mattered, or if your quiet obedience meant anything at all. But what you couldn't see was the movement happening behind the veil. While you were standing firm, while you were choosing faith over fear, something powerful was taking place in the unseen world. According to the message revealed through Archangel Michael, there are rare moments when a single act of faith, courage, or surrender moves the heart of God in extraordinary ways. Not because God was distant, but because the timing of heaven was aligning perfectly with the decision you just made. That moment when you chose integrity instead of compromise, when you forgave instead of seeking revenge, when you trusted God even while everything around you looked uncertain. That moment echoed through the courts of heaven, and now, a door that once seemed locked is beginning to open. The blessing connected to your obedience was never cancelled. It was waiting for the exact moment when your faith reached a level strong enough to carry what God was about to release. What you just did became the key that unlocked something far bigger than you imagined. In this message, you'll discover why your recent decision caught heaven's attention, what Archangel Michael reveals about the blessing now being released, and why the season ahead may transform your life in ways you never expected. Stay with this message, because what happens next might confirm everything your spirit has been sensing all along. The decision that echoed in heaven. There are moments in life that seem small on the surface but carry enormous weight in the spiritual realm. What you did recently may have felt like a quiet decision, perhaps even something no one else noticed. Maybe it was choosing faith instead of fear. Maybe it was refusing to give up when everything around you suggested surrender. Or maybe it was simply trusting God when the answers were nowhere in sight. But according to the message revealed through Archangel Michael, heaven notices the moments that the world overlooks. Every act of faith creates a ripple in the unseen world. When you choose righteousness over comfort, patience over frustration, or hope over despair, something shifts in the spiritual atmosphere. The decision you made wasn't just about a moment in your life, it was about alignment with a greater purpose. Heaven watches for those moments, not because God needs proof of your faith, but because those moments reveal the readiness of your spirit to receive what He has prepared. When you stood firm, when you refused to compromise your values, when you continued believing despite the silence, you demonstrated something powerful: unwavering trust. And trust unlocks doors. Archangel Michael reveals that certain blessings are not released randomly. They are tied to spiritual maturity, perseverance, and faith. Your recent action showed heaven that you were ready for something greater. What you did sent a message. You would not turn away, even when the path felt uncertain. That declaration of faith echoed through the spiritual realm. Now something that once seemed delayed is beginning to move. Doors that felt closed are starting to loosen. Situations that seemed stagnant are shifting. Not because of coincidence, but because your faith created the moment heaven had been waiting for. Why heaven responds to faith. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in the spiritual world. It's not simply belief, it's the decision to trust God, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. And according to Archangel Michael, heaven responds to faith in ways that often remain invisible until the right moment arrives. Many people think blessings appear instantly. They imagine that the moment they pray or believe, everything should change overnight. But the truth is deeper than that. Faith initiates movement. When you continue trusting during uncertainty, when you refuse to abandon hope even after disappointment, something begins to unfold behind the scenes. Spiritual forces begin aligning circumstances, opening pathways, and removing obstacles that once seemed impossible to overcome. The decision you made recently carried that kind of faith. Perhaps you chose patience when anger would have been easier. Perhaps you let go of something that once held you back. Or maybe you continued believing in God's promises even after experiencing delays. that choice mattered more than you realize. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven often waits for moments when human faith reaches a certain level of strength, not because God withholds blessings, but because some blessings require a heart prepared to carry them. When your faith reached that level, a shift occurred. Think of it like a locked gate that only opens when the correct key is inserted. Faith becomes that key. When it turns, the gate begins to move. What you just did turned that key. Now heaven is responding. Circumstances that once seemed stuck may begin changing. Opportunities you didn't expect may appear. Answers you prayed for may start revealing themselves in surprising ways. This is the mysterious way faith works. What begins as a quiet act of trust becomes the catalyst for something far greater. And what's unfolding now may be only the beginning of what God has prepared for you. The hidden battle you just won. There are battles in life that no one sees. They aren't fought with weapons or loud confrontations. Instead, they happen quietly inside the heart and mind. The struggle between faith and doubt, patience and frustration, obedience and compromise, these are the battles that shape the destiny of a soul. Recently, you faced one of those invisible battles. Perhaps no one applauded you. Perhaps no one even knew the decision you were wrestling with, but heaven saw it clearly. According to Archangel Michael, the spiritual realm pays close attention to these moments because they reveal the true strength of a person's spirit. When temptation whispered that it would be easier to give up, you resisted. When discouragement tried to convince you that your efforts were pointless, you continued moving forward. When fear suggested that trusting God was too risky, you chose faith anyway. That choice was not small. Every time a person chooses righteousness instead of convenience, a victory takes place in the unseen world. It's the kind of victory that shifts spiritual atmospheres and weakens the forces that try to derail your purpose. The enemy thrives on discouragement. It hopes you will quit just before the breakthrough appears. But when you refuse to surrender, you disrupted that plan. Archangel Michael reveals that moments like these often mark the turning point before a blessing is released. The struggle wasn't meaningless. It was preparation. Your perseverance proved something important. Your faith is stronger than the pressure around you. Now the battle you fought quietly is creating momentum in the spiritual realm. The resistance that once surrounded your path is beginning to weaken, and the victory you just achieved may be the very reason the next season of your life is about to open in ways you never expected. The moment heaven took notice. In a world filled with constant noise, it can sometimes feel as though our prayers disappear unnoticed. People wonder if their quiet acts of obedience truly matter, or if heaven pays attention to the details of their lives. But Archangel Michael reveals something powerful. Heaven notices far more than we realize. Every sincere prayer, every moment of faith, and every act of obedience creates a signal in the spiritual realm. It may not always produce immediate results, but it never goes unseen. The moment you made your recent decision, whether it was choosing forgiveness, patience, courage, or surrender, it created a shift that reached beyond the physical world. Heaven took notice. Not because God was unaware before, but because your action marked a moment of alignment between your heart and His will. Alignment is powerful. It's the point where divine purpose and human choice begin working together. When that alignment occurs, doors that once seemed locked begin to loosen. Archangel Michael explains that certain blessings are released only when the right moment arrives. That moment isn't determined by chance, it's determined by readiness. Your decision showed readiness. You demonstrated that your faith wasn't dependent on perfect circumstances. You proved that your trust in God remained steady, even when answers were delayed. That kind of faith draws heaven's attention. And when heaven takes notice, movement begins. Situations that once seemed immovable may start shifting. Obstacles that stood firmly in your path may begin losing their power. This is the mysterious way divine timing works. What looked like an ordinary moment in your life may actually become the turning point that begins a completely new chapter. Why the blessing was waiting. Many people misunderstand the nature of divine blessings. They assume that if something hasn't happened yet, it means the opportunity was lost or the promise was never real. But according to Archangel Michael, delays often have a deeper purpose. Sometimes blessings wait not because God is withholding them, but because preparation is still unfolding. Certain gifts require growth, strength, and wisdom before they can be fully received. Imagine receiving something powerful before you're ready to handle it. Instead of becoming a blessing, it could become a burden. That's why timing matters. The journey you've been walking recently has been shaping you. The challenges you faced strengthened your patience. The uncertainty you endured refined your faith. Even the moments that felt frustrating were quietly building the foundation for what's coming next. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven often waits for the moment when preparation meets opportunity. When those two forces align, the blessing can be released without destroying the person meant to receive it. That alignment may be happening now. Your recent decision may have been the final piece that completed the preparation process. The moment you chose faith over fear, obedience over doubt, the waiting season reached its purpose. Now what once felt delayed may begin accelerating. Doors that seemed permanently closed may suddenly open. Opportunities that once seemed distant may move closer, not because circumstances randomly changed, but because the preparation is complete. And when preparation is complete, blessings that once waited patiently begin to move. The spiritual door that just opened. Some doors in life are visible. They appear as job opportunities, new relationships, or unexpected changes in circumstances. But other doors exist in the spiritual realm first, before they appear in the physical world. Archangel Michael reveals that the decision you recently made may have opened one of those spiritual doors. When a person walks in obedience, it creates access. It's similar to stepping onto a path that was previously hidden. The moment you choose alignment with God's will, that path begins to reveal itself. At first, the change may be subtle. You might notice small shifts, unexpected encouragement, new opportunities, or a sense of peace replacing confusion. These small signs often signal that a larger door has already opened in the unseen realm. Once that door opens, circumstances begin rearranging themselves. People enter your life at the right moment. Obstacles that once blocked your progress begin fading. Opportunities appear that seem perfectly timed. These changes are not random. They are the result of a spiritual door unlocking. Archangel Michael explains that many people miss these moments because they expect dramatic signs immediately. But divine movement often begins quietly before becoming visible. Your path may already be shifting. What once felt stagnant may begin gaining momentum. What once seemed impossible may start looking surprisingly achievable. And all of it traces back to a single moment, the moment you chose faith. That decision opened something greater than you could see. The power of obedience. Obedience is one of the most misunderstood spiritual principles. Many people see it as restriction, but in reality, it is often the key to freedom. Archangel Michael reveals that obedience creates alignment with divine wisdom. When you follow the guidance placed on your heart, you position yourself where blessings can reach you. Your recent action reflected obedience, even if it was difficult, even if it required letting go of something familiar. You followed the direction you believed was right. That kind of courage carries enormous spiritual weight. Obedience signals trust. It shows that your faith is not based solely on comfort or convenience, but on a genuine belief that God's guidance leads to something better. And when that trust is demonstrated, heaven responds. Doors begin opening that you couldn't force on your own. Opportunities appear that no amount of human effort could create. It's not because obedience earns blessings like a transaction. It's because obedience places you exactly where those blessings were meant to find you. Your recent decision may have positioned you on a path you couldn't see before, and that path may be leading toward a future far greater than what you once imagined. The season of acceleration. There are seasons in life when everything seems painfully slow. You pray, you work, you wait, and yet nothing appears to change. Days pass, weeks pass, sometimes even years pass, and it feels as if your progress is invisible. Many people grow discouraged during these seasons because they believe that delay means denial. But according to the message revealed through Archangel Michael, what feels like delay is often preparation. In the spiritual realm, preparation is never wasted. Every challenge you faced recently was shaping something within you. The patience you were forced to develop, the discipline you learned, and the faith you chose to hold onto were all strengthening your spirit for what was coming next. While it may have seemed like nothing was happening, the unseen world was quietly arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and removing obstacles that once stood in your path. Now something different may be beginning. Archangel Michael reveals that when preparation reaches its completion, acceleration begins. Suddenly, things that once moved slowly begin moving quickly. Doors that were once firmly closed start opening. Opportunities that seemed distant suddenly appear within reach. It can feel almost surprising, as though life suddenly shifted into a higher gear. But this sudden movement is not random. It is the natural result of the work that was happening behind the scenes all along. What once felt like stagnation was actually the quiet construction of your breakthrough. The decision you recently made may have been the final signal that your preparation was complete. Now the momentum is building. You may soon notice that new ideas come to you more clearly. People who can help your journey may appear unexpectedly. Situations that once blocked your progress may begin resolving themselves in ways you didn't anticipate. This is the beginning of acceleration. The path that once felt heavy and slow may now start moving forward with surprising speed, and the blessing connected to your faith may arrive sooner than you ever imagined. The blessing that is being released. Blessings rarely arrive in the exact form people expect. Many imagine dramatic miracles appearing instantly, but divine blessings often unfold in quieter, more mysterious ways. According to Archangel Michael, the blessing connected to your recent decision may already be moving toward you, even if you cannot yet see it. In the spiritual realm, movement often begins long before it becomes visible in the physical world. Think of it like the first light of dawn. Before the sun appears above the horizon, the sky slowly begins to brighten. The change is subtle at first, but it signals that something powerful is about to rise. The blessing that is being released into your life may be unfolding in the same way. It might begin as an unexpected opportunity that seems small at first, but gradually grows into something significant. It could appear through a conversation that leads to a new direction, or through a person who enters your life at exactly the right moment. Sometimes, blessings arrive as clarity. A path that once felt confusing suddenly becomes clear. A decision that once felt difficult becomes obvious. Doors that once seemed permanently closed reveal hidden entrances you never noticed before. Archangel Michael explains that blessings often follow the path of faith. When you demonstrated trust by making the decision you recently made, you created space for divine movement to begin. Heaven responds to faith not with randomness, but with purpose. That means the blessing approaching you is not accidental. It has been prepared specifically for your journey, your growth, and the purpose that your life carries. Even if you cannot yet see it, something is shifting. Circumstances are being rearranged. Opportunities are being aligned. And the blessing that once seemed distant may now be closer than you realize. Your act of faith was the signal that allowed it to begin moving toward you. The beginning of a new chapter. Life is made up of seasons, and each season carries its own purpose. Some seasons are defined by growth and opportunity, while others are filled with tests that strengthen the spirit. The difficult seasons often feel endless while we are living through them, but according to Archangel Michael, those seasons are rarely permanent. Eventually, every chapter reaches its conclusion. The struggles you recently faced may have been part of a chapter designed to prepare you for something greater. The uncertainty you experienced taught you patience. The obstacles you encountered strengthened your perseverance. Even the moments that felt discouraging were quietly shaping your character and deepening your faith. Now, a transition may be unfolding. Archangel Michael reveals that when preparation is complete, a new chapter begins. The atmosphere of your life begins to shift. Opportunities start appearing that once seemed impossible. Your perspective becomes clearer, and the path ahead begins revealing itself step by step. This new chapter may not arrive with a dramatic announcement, but you will begin to feel the difference. You may sense renewed energy, a stronger sense of direction, and a growing confidence that something meaningful is unfolding. The struggles that once dominated your days will slowly lose their influence as new possibilities take their place. The decision you made recently may have been the turning point that initiated this transition. What once seemed like a simple act of faith may actually mark the moment your life began moving into a new season of purpose. And as this new chapter unfolds, you may discover that the challenges you endured were never meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you for the blessing that was waiting just beyond them. As this message comes to a close, remember this: what you did was not small, and it was not unnoticed. In a world that often overlooks quiet acts of faith, heaven sees every moment you choose trust over fear, patience over frustration, and obedience over doubt. The decision you made recently may have felt simple at the time, but in the spiritual realm, it carried tremendous weight. According to the message revealed through Archangel Michael, moments like these often become the turning points that shift an entire season of life. What you did aligned your heart with a greater purpose, and that alignment has begun to move things in ways you cannot yet fully see. If this message resonated with your spirit, take it as confirmation that something is changing. The waiting season may be coming to an end, and the doors that once seemed closed may soon begin to open. Stay watchful, stay faithful, and most importantly, stay aligned with the path that brought you to this moment. If this message spoke to you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who may need this encouragement today. Your support helps these messages reach those who are searching for hope and direction. And before you go, take a moment to comment, "I receive my blessing." Sometimes declaring your faith is the first step toward seeing it unfold. Remember, your story is still being written, and the chapter ahead may be greater than anything you've experienced so far.